What I want to know is whatever happened to Space Force? All I know is it's showtime, so it is go time.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Coming up on this episode.
The erroneous text to
You're trying to hook up with?
my man Reno.
Yeah,
man, I'm so happy. Just dropped his new CD, not too far. I still call them CDs. New album. That makes me old too. Just a couple months ago. So
the word is content.
Content. See, yes, I'm so out of it.
Disclose. It was a private show, so I will say that. But it was a completely naked comedy show.
Wow.
And but with that said, like for myself, like I've performed at Skanks Fest as a naked roast battler. So I like the nudity in comedy. It's not a bad thing.
Hey, welcome to the Word of God. I am your host, Tony God. Some great news. We have reached over 2,000 subscribers to the channel, so thank you. Once again, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is a sign. To me, this is a sign. It's time to shine. That's what it's telling me, because I'm looking at the other. I'm looking at how things are going. You know, we're getting some response. We're growing slowly, but we're growing. Other podcasts, they're losing people. So let's get to 3,000. If you enjoy the show,
Smash that subscribe button.
simple as that. Now you've already helped us out. You're in. You're part of it. Good going. Today I have a conversation with Pat Largo and highlighting 5 things that we learned podcasting and on the podcast. And if you don't know about Pat Largo, the other guy is the co-host. So Pat Largo, before he got into comedy and podcasting, he was a radio guy. And he's still a radio guy, actually, in the Tampa Bay market. And I think you're going to enjoy it.
1.
Jesus, I texted him that. That's so fun. Okay, that's show business right
This
there.
is called a bromance.
God, I mean, I do like him. He's a great looking guy. Always smells good, very clean.
So tell me what you're doing actually.
Okay, right now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to be contacting Rio Paris, really good comedian here who lives. Well, he's all over the place, like between here and California. He's all over the place.
Now Rio is scheduled to come in to the show, right?
Yes, we're going to have Rio Paris on in studio coming up very soon. And
what are we doing here? What are you doing?
So right now, I'm actually just going to Facebook message him, and then we're going to make sure he is in ready for time in a few days when we're going to be having him.
This is how we do it now.
Yep.
You used to talk to people on the phone. Now we completely avoid each other.
It's all the thumbs.
Isn't that? That's
Hiya. I always start with a hiya.
A hiya.
Confirming podcast interview for next week.
We're trying to set up the schedule for him as the second interview of the day.
Yes.
We have another one prior to that.
Yeah. We already got with that lovely lady, Darcy Greco. She's going to be in studio. I'm excited. As much as I love Zoom and it's easy, I love being in studio here.
I like the in-studio stuff.
But yeah, so we got Darcy Greco and the incredibly talented Rio Paris coming up soon. So that's how we do it, man. Hopefully we'll talk to him soon.
All right.
And
so we'll check back when you get a response.
You bet.
This is how it's done. Booking the guests.
Coffee break time.
Coffee break.
Ooh, I'm out of here.
All right. Here with Pat Largo.
Yeah.
How has it been so far?
Tiring. This if someone would have told me, hey man, you're going to try a weekly podcast for 45 minutes with comics, I'm like, okay, no big deal. But then all the behind the scenes stuff, I'm tired, man. I'm enthralled by it, and that's why I'm so tired. And I'll tell you, some of my favorite. I don't have one necessarily favorite episode this season. I love our Frankie Paul Morell one that we just had.
Yeah.
I love seeing a New York boy come down to a small Florida city and kick ass the whole entire time. But we had so many just great guests that I want to thank them for taking time out of their schedule from being all over the place. From Vince August up in New Jersey, who was an attorney, used to be a judge. He's a full-time comedian. He's the warm-up comedian for The Daily Show. He's always a great one to talk with because he doesn't hold anything back. He's a typical Jersey Italian guy, and he'll be the first one to tell you.
Started doing Zoom gigs. Man,
I know.
not fun. Then I got lucky. I got a couple writing gigs through Trevor and his management team to keep me going, to get me work, keep my brain sharp.
Cool.
So that kind of kept me alive to the end of the year.
And to Trevor Noah, because I didn't know that his writing team was helping you out with some gigs. He sounds like a really cool dude. I mean, it's really, how long have you been working on the Daily Show with Trevor?
I'm going to tell you this. It's funny how people, attack him for his politics and assume everything that's said on the show is a reflection of everything he believes, thinks, or whatever. And it's just like, look, guys, that's a comedy show.
Right.
Okay. And, it's so funny how Jon Stewart is viewed in such a different lens than Trevor. And it's like, it's the same show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's different writers. Trevor's got a completely different voice. I'll give you that. But it's still The Daily Show.
Yeah.
It's still, but, because people see the stuff that John does with 9/11 and no, people want to kind of ignore what Trevor does. Like he doesn't do anything for anybody. And it's like, no, man, look, you guys are letting your politics get in the way of your comedy. And it's like, have you ever seen him do stand-up?
Yeah.
Because John's stand-up was nothing like what he did on The Daily Show. The only guy who's pretty much the same in terms of their show and their stand-up is Mar.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, what you see Mar do on his show, that's who he is.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know
2,
our viewers and listeners, I haven't had so many people in a long time come up at shows I'm doing or just in general on social media and go, hey, I like your guys' podcast. It's really cool. It's just nice. And I'll take it.
Have they pointed out anything particular from the shows?
The things that people have pointed out in particular on our podcast is the length. I mean, first I'll say I like the show. It's funny, okay, which is cool. That's cool. It's a good answer. But they go, yeah, it's not like 2-3 hours. I go, no. I'm 52 years old. I don't have time for 2 or 3 hour sessions. We do like what, 35, 45 minutes tops, and it's perfect. So they're noticing that it's not a long podcast, and it's just putting all that into such a short amount of time. That's what I love about it. And I want, like I said, I just want to thank the viewers and the people who are digging it. I want to thank you, Tony God, for doing everything you do along with the podcast and all the editing and everything behind the scenes.
3,
What do you recall in particular from any of the comics that stuck out to you? Something they said that stuck with you?
One of the things that I think stuck out to me was, I don't want to butcher his first name. I want to say it's Mark. He is the GM of Gutty's Comedy Club in Indiana. I think it's Mark. Mark, I apologize if it's not. And he had some great quotes and experiences because he used to be a touring comic for decades.
People that hang out with me long enough, they will hear me say this more than once. Your network will determine your net worth.
That's true. That's a.
Can you say that? Can you say that one more time for everyone?
Your network will determine your net worth. It's, so many times people are like, I want to make it big. I want to make it big in the comedy business or whatever. Then expand your network.
And the truncated version was, he goes like, he talked about comedy festivals, and he goes, awesome, go be a part of a comedy festival. He goes, but especially the young comics, they're going out there and their main thing is they want to win. And he goes, that's cool to win a comedy festival. He goes, but you want to go out there to make friends and make future business chances, opportunities. And I didn't think of that. He's like, it's all about meeting the people there, the judges, the comedy club owners. He goes, make relationships. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I'm like I said, I'm 52. I could take that advice. I'm like, that's true. You're not going out there just to win. You want to make opportunities down the road and have friends who can go, hey, listen, man, we get some gigs coming up this weekend. Are you available? That's what you want to hear. So you really want to make more out of what you're going into. So he had some great advice when it came to business stuff.
Have you applied to any festivals?
You know, I haven't applied to any festivals. I have never applied to comedy festivals ever. I have some friends of mine who have won comedy festivals, but I do want to at least apply to one or two in 20. Dominic Ricano, who's in Atlanta. He does All the Laughs, the ATL Comedy Awards, and that's coming up shortly in October. And I love what he's doing because it's not just all forms of comedy and improv comedy. It's short movies, it's horror comedy movies. I mean, he does the whole gamut. So if you're into comedy or acting or both, check out Dominic Ricano with ATL All the Laughs Comedy Awards.
4,
Yeah.
For Dat Fan, have you started a TikTok account?
Dat Fan wanted
Answer
me.
the question.
Dat Fan wanted me to do a TikTok account. Now this is all of a sudden this bromance. Thank you, Ginger Kelly, by the way. She said, "Hey, Dat Fan's in town for a couple of days doing some shows at Snappers Comedy Club in Palm Harbor. Can you hang out with him?" I said, "Sure." Well, he didn't leave my car on my side for the next 3 days. We had a great relationship. And he goes, "Dude," he goes, "you got to get a TikTok." He goes, "Get a TikTok account. I'll be the first one that likes it. I'll follow you. Let's do it." I go, "Why do I have to do this?" He goes, "It'll change your life."
Don't do TikTok.
I go, "I can barely do Facebook." So the answer is yes. I
So
got
you
it.
do have a TikTok?
I have a Comedians on Court TikTok account. It's
Do you have a personal one yet?
no. I feel dirty doing it because I feel like everyone on there is like 20 years old and it's always good-looking women in thongs, and I'm
Are you doing challenges for the Comedians on Court account? Are you doing dances and stuff?
my challenge is to see if I can put a video on there without screwing it up.
That is a challenge.
That's a challenge when you're my age. No, not doing any challenges, but it's funny. I am putting just videos on about comedy or even my dog, and it's funny to get 700 views on something. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. Do it. So real quick, Dat Fan, thank you so much, and check out Dat Fan, DATPHAN. He's a really funny dude, and follow him too on TikTok.
Have you has
5.
anything surprised you out of the interviews? Like any of the comments or the reactions or information that you might have gotten that you weren't, that surprised you from other comedians or the club owners or whatnot?
You know, as for being surprised, from what people say on our podcast interview-wise, I just can't recall off the top of my head, but I'm usually not too surprised by anything, especially what comedians say.
So nothing too shocking.
Nothing too shocking, nothing crazy, no like stories where you go, wow, say that again? So
we need more of that for season 4? More shocking stuff?
I guess I don't want to say desensitized, but I guess I'm so used to being, you're just hearing stuff and seeing so many things daily that when you're talking to comedians, sometimes I would like to be blown away by stuff. I mean, except maybe the one guy, Ian Stewart from Maine. He does the Portland, Maine Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, he was a crazy dude, and he goes, he goes, I got in a little trouble doing this naked comedy show, and he just kept going. If you're talking about, I go, no, you just can't swim away from that. You can't say naked comedy show and then just move on with something. I go, tell us about
venues and establishments kind of backing me, thankfully. So it's been a pretty easy journey.
Wonderful. Well, that's what we like to hear. Now, you just can't gloss over an underwear show. Let's back up one moment. Let's put this in reverse. 1 second. Let me just slowly back up and look at my rear view.
Pat knows this stuff here. Pat knows.
This is near and dear to my heart. We're in the Tampa area. We're the per capita, we have the most strip clubs in the country, in the world. But what is an underwear show? How far was it all strippage down to nothing? Can you walk us through this?
Sure. All right. So I've always been a fan of kind of, having a few drinks and performing in my underwear. It's always been just fun. You can't go wrong with it. And actually at the time I was like 27 years old and a much more svelte, good looking dude. So it was, it was more of a bragging thing than it was, I didn't have much of an act, but at least I didn't have like man tits like I do now, So
now you got a better act.
yeah. Now I'm gonna be funny. My
What
body's
he
so
did,
great.
what he didn't have for an act, he had abs, and that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I've always liked the comedy, the underwear show, and I had this idea called the Adam and Eve show, where every comedian was going to be completely naked except for leaves pasted over their private parts, and do comedy with leaves pasted on them, right? Like Adam and Eve. And the venue found out about that and had a meltdown. I literally had to get a lawyer involved because I had so much money tied up in this. It was crazy. Like I just had a lawyer friend show up that kind of helped me deal with whatever was going on. So anyways, we delegated it down to an underwear show where all the comedians performed in their underwear, but that set it off to, we've had a show where it's a battle roast, like a roasting battle show, but it's a strip battle roast. So if you lose that joke, you got to take off a piece of clothing. We did 1 year. I don't even know if I don't know if I should talk about this, but we did a underground show at a venue I will not disclose. It was a private show, so I will say that, but it was a completely naked comedy show.
Wow.
And but with that said, like for myself, like I've performed at Skanks Fest as a naked roast battler. So I like the nudity in comedy. It's not a bad thing.
That's pretty funny, though.
But it's pretty explicit, and you're thinking right away, like, how many ugly comedians do I know? Just fat dudes to be naked, and that's enough to turn your stomach. But that was pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
But you've also have been having quite a bit more success on the live performance side. How many rooms do you have right now, or what's that looking like? I mean, you were telling me some stuff. It sounded like it's kind of taken off.
Yeah, thanks. Room-wise, we are getting a little more action now with Comedians Uncorked, which is my side project that I started out of the blue in early 2018. So over 4 years later, right now we're looking at about 5 rooms comfortably, and fingers crossed we're going to try to add 1 or 2 more. If people aren't familiar, it's just an all-inclusive comedy show, and I try to make it as good as I can and surround myself with really good people. And if you get a chance to see a live show, we bring the whole 9 yards, man, and really great headlining comics as well. So yeah, it's fun.
So I got a couple last questions here. What piece of advice would you give to a new comic?
Oh man, it's what new piece
Somebody
of advice?
just starting to do shows.
Yeah.
What would be a good little tip?
If they're doing shows themselves, kind of like what I'm doing, they're producing a show.
Let's say they're just comics. They're starting to get booked.
Oh, right on,
What
right
good
on.
little piece of advice would you give them so they don't screw themselves over?
Man, a good piece of advice for new comics, in my own opinion, is don't stop. Just keep going. Be yourself. Just keep writing, and things will fall into place. Don't stop. Don't quit. Get whatever kind of mic time you can get. That's the main thing. Whether it's open mics, whether someone's saying, "Hey man, I got $10 if you want to do 20 minutes," go do it if you can. And just don't stop. Don't quit. Keep writing, and it'll all work out. Just if that's what you want to do, that's the main thing. If that's what you want to do in your heart, if you want to do jokes for a living, do it, and it'll work out. Well, I always tell people, laugh, you deserve it. And I usually say, thank you for enjoying free speech. But
what do you tell the comics that are listening?
What do I tell the comics? Oh God, what do I tell the comics?
You give them a line too.
I give them a line. Hang on, it's true. I always the main things I tell podcast-wise or anything else, just at shows. I always tell people, if you're gigging, you're winning. And I just something because a buddy of mine plays in drums in a few different bands, and there's some big tribute bands that they fly around the country. So we'll always text. He goes, "Are you gigging?" Oh yeah, go yeah. You gigging? So I go, "Hey, if you're gigging, you're winning." And I'm like, I might use that.
Why isn't that on a shirt, man?
So why, if you're gigging, you're winning? That should be on a shirt. The 2 things I like to say at the close of a show, live or the podcast, is if you're gigging, you're winning, and laugh, you deserve it.
So wait, you just now you heard from Reno?
Reno Collier,
Okay.
the guy who I gave the error, the erroneous text to.
Are you trying to hook up with?
My man Reno.
Comedy
Yeah,
romance.
man. I'm so happy. Just dropped his new CD not too far. I still call them CDs. New album. That makes me old too. Just a couple months ago. So
The word is content.
content. See, yes, I'm so out
He
of it.
dropped a 12-track content.
Well, I just got the word back from Reno because I said, "Hey, man, how are we looking for this Thursday via Zoom with Tony and me on the podcast?" And he goes, "I think we're good. Can we finalize tonight?" Oh,
Cool.
we're going to finalize tonight.
Cool. All right. So we got that. We're going to finalize that with Reno, and then we're just waiting to hear back from
Yeah.
Rio to lock in for next week.
Exactly. And let me show you how professional I am. When I talk to Reno Collier from Blue Collar Comedy and the Montreal Comedy Fest, I reply, "You betcha." That's how we do it.
Wow.
That's all we need.
That's pretty.
So,
wow. That's
so-
pretty modern.
It's not bad, man. We're going to have, he's one of our bigger names so far we're going to have on the podcast, and a really cool guy. So if you haven't, check him out on YouTube or anywhere on social media. You'll love Collier.
Yeah, and check him out when we talk to him.
That too, on our podcast, for God's sake, will you?
All right, let's go prepare for this thing.
Shots?
What's the word on Rio?
Rio Paris has also accepted our invite and has confirmed.
So here's
So smash that subscribe button